There's something about a red light that makes riders go brain dead. You could be laser focused all ride long, but the second you roll to a stop, boom, half your awareness melts away. It's like we treat it as nap time. But here's the thing, intersections are danger zones. You're vulnerable, you're exposed, and one dumb mistake can wreck your day before the light even turns green. The worst part, most riders have no idea they're screwing up. Some of these mistakes are tiny, stuff you don't even notice until it's too late. Others are just bad habits baked into muscle memory. And whether you're a total newbie or a seasoned vet who thinks red lights are boring, you might be doing half of these without realizing it. So let's call it out. These are the 12 mistakes beginner riders make at red lights. And yeah, a few of these probably apply to you too. Don't worry, we've all been there. But once you fix them, your rides get smoother, safer, and just plain smarter. Let's go. Number 1. Stopping directly behind a car's bumper. This one's a classic rookie move, and even some experienced riders forget it. You're coming up to a red light, there's a car already stopped, and without thinking, you pull right up behind it like you're in a Camry. Big mistake, because now you got zero options. If a distracted driver comes flying up behind you and doesn't hit the brakes in time, guess what? You're the meat in a metal sandwich. The smart play is to stop offset, either to the left or right of the car in front of you. That way, if you see something sketchy happening in your mirrors, you got an escape route. You can dart out to the side and avoid becoming a hood ornament. Even better, stopping offset also makes you more visible to the driver behind. A bike directly behind a tall SUV or a truck can basically vanish in their sightline. But if you're a little to the left and your headlight's peeking out, boom, you're on their radar. It's not paranoia, it's just smart positioning. Red lights are where a lot of low-speed crashes happen, and you'd be shocked how many of them are completely avoidable with one tiny shift in where you stop. Number 2. Staying in neutral instead of being ready in first gear. This one sparks a lot of debate, and honestly, it depends. But here's the truth. If there's any chance something sketchy might happen, you should be in first gear, clutch in, ready to move. Why? Because when things go wrong at a red light, they go wrong fast. A car behind you isn't slowing down, you need to bolt. And if you're just sitting there in neutral, you've just added half a second fumbling for the shifter. That's the kind of delay that turns a near miss into a hospital visit. Now, here's the nuance. If you're at a long red light, you're in the middle lane, cars are stopped behind you, and there's no danger in sight, sure, pop it into neutral. Give your hand a break. Especially if you're riding an older bike, that puts extra wear on the clutch. Most modern bikes can hold that clutch all day without issue, but older ones, not always. The key is context. Stay alert, don't turn red lights into nap time. Scan your mirrors. If anything looks even slightly off, click into first and be ready to launch. Your safety is worth that tiny bit of extra clutch work. Number 3. Not scanning rear view mirrors constantly. This one separates the barely surviving riders from the ones who actually ride smart. You'd be shocked at how many people stop at a red light and never look behind them again. They're staring ahead, daydreaming, watching the pigeons cross the road. Meanwhile, some half-asleep minivan is barreling toward their tailpipe at 40 miles an hour. You have to check your mirrors, constantly. Especially in the first few seconds after stopping. That's the danger window, when the driver behind you might not even realize the light changed. A quick glance every couple seconds can save your life. If you see someone coming in too hot, start feathering that clutch and edge out to your escape route and get ready to move. And if your mirrors are garbage, fix that. Get bar ends, blind spot add-ons, whatever it takes. You should never be surprised by what's coming up behind you. Think of it like this. At a red light, your mirrors are your rear shield. If you're not using them, you're riding blind. And blind riders don't last long. Number 4. Putting both feet down automatically. It seems harmless, right? Light turns red, you stop, and drop both feet like you're setting up a tent. But here's the thing. Putting both feet down without thinking kills your ability to stay in control, especially at low speeds. If your right foot's off the brake, your only way of staying stopped is the front brake. And if you're on an incline or a slick surface, that front brake might not be enough to hold you. You're already unbalanced, and now you got no anchor at the rear. That's how guys tip over at lights. Slowly, awkwardly, and with a crowd of drivers watching. The better habit? Keep your right foot on the rear brake, left foot down, handlebars straight. It keeps your bike stable, your brake light lit so the cars behind you sees you, and you're ready to launch with full control when the light changes. It's also a practice that makes tight, slow maneuvers smoother because it becomes second nature. The moment you start treating stops like part of the ride instead of a break, your riding gets way sharper. Number 5. Parking on slippery or uneven surfaces without thinking. It happens all the time. A rider pulls up to the light, slows down, and casually puts their foot down, right into a slick patch of oil or some loose gravel. Suddenly, gravity takes over and down goes the bike. Embarrassing? Sure. But it can also mess up your leg, your paint, or your whole ride. Intersections are some of the dirtiest places on the road. Think about it. Cars idle there all day long, dripping oil, coolant, brake fluid, you name it. Add in some rain and that shiny patch of asphalt turns into a slip and slide. Now, throw in painted lines, metal manhole covers, or that weird slope toward the curb. And now you got a cocktail of instability just waiting to ruin your day. So here's the move. As you come to a stop, don't just look straight ahead. Scan the pavement. Is it shiny, discolored, painted? Avoid that spot. Pick a clean area where your tires and boots can grip. And when in doubt, keep the bike upright until the very last moment. You don't need to slam your foot down early and risk catching something unstable. It's a small habit, but one that separates seasoned riders from people who end up picking their bikes up at red lights. Number 6. Stopping on a hill without rear brake control. You're at a red light, halfway up a steep incline, and your heart's racing. Not from the ride, but because you're desperately trying not to roll back into the car behind you. It's a rite of passage for every new rider, and it goes sideways fast if you're not ready. A lot of beginners try and hold themselves with just the clutch and throttle, but guess what? That's a great way to stall, over-rev, or send your bike hopping into traffic like a kangaroo on espresso. And if your right foot's already on the ground, you got no rear brake to stabilize yourself. Now you're stuck holding the entire bike with just the front brake and hoping you don't screw up the launch. The smart move? Keep your right foot on the rear brake, left foot down. This holds the bike in place so you can ease out the clutch smoothly without worrying about rolling. Once you feel the bite point, gently roll on the throttle, release the brake, and off you go. Clean, stable, no drama. It's not just a low-speed trick. It builds confidence, control, and that cool-headed feel that tells everyone else this rider knows what they're doing. Number 7. Fixating on the light instead of the surroundings. Some riders stare at the red light like they're trying to hypnotize it into turning green. They're laser-focused on that glowing circle and forget everything else around them. That's a problem. While you're fixating on the light, real threats are unfolding all around you. A car might be creeping through the intersection from the left. A pedestrian could be jaywalking. Someone on their phone might not see the red and just blast straight through. And you're sitting there like a duck in a shooting gallery, eyes locked on the wrong thing. Experienced riders learn to treat red lights as a situational awareness checkpoint. Eyes scanning, mirrors checked, look left, right, and left again. Maybe even a glance at the tires of the car next to you. Are they rolling forward when they shouldn't be? When the light turns green, the safest riders don't move instantly. They pause for a second. One last scan, then go. That tiny delay, it can save your life. Because while you were paying attention to the intersection, not just the light, you saw that guy running the red. And you're still here because of it. Number 8. Stopping in blind spots of larger vehicles. You see that delivery van next to you? Or the lifted truck with the mirrors bigger than your face? If you're sitting next to them at a red light tucked in beside their door, congratulations, you're invisible. A shocking number of riders park themselves right in the blind spot of larger vehicles at intersection. Maybe it feels safer than being behind them. Maybe they just weren't thinking. Either way, it's a great way to get crushed if that vehicle suddenly decides to turn, drift, or change lanes. The driver doesn't know you're there. And at a red light, things get chaotic. Horns blaring, pedestrians crossing, bikes lane splitting. One distracted movement from the car next to you, and bam, you're on the ground wondering what just happened. Smart riders stop where they can be seen. Either far enough behind to have a view of the driver's mirror, or just ahead, in the clear view of their windshield. If you can see the driver's face, there's a decent chance they can see you. But if you're relying on their sixth sense to detect your presence, yeah, good luck with that. Number 9. Revving for attention, or sound checks. You're at a red light. It's quiet. A car pulls up next to you. You give the throttle a little twist. Just a little growl, right? Maybe they'll look over. Maybe they'll think, damn, that guy rides. Or maybe they'll think you're a jackass. Revving at a red light doesn't just make you look desperate, it can actually escalate a situation. You never know what kind of mood the people around you are in. That Camaro driver, he might take it as a challenge. The old lady in the Corolla might think you're a threat. The cop 2 cars behind might decide you're due for a noise violation. And don't give me that, I'm just checking my throttle response excuse. Nobody buys it. If your bike is so unpredictable you need to test it every time you stop, you got bigger problems. Now look, I get it. Motorcycles sound amazing. I've owned some that made angels cry and car alarms panic. But revving in traffic, it's like flexing in an elevator. Awkward and unnecessary. Want people to respect your ride? Let them hear it when it matters. On the move. Number 10. Failing to check cross traffic before taking off on green. Green doesn't mean go. It means look both ways, then go. Especially if you're on 2 wheels with nothing but denim and prayer for protection. Here's what happens. Light turns green, beginner dumps the clutch, charges ahead. And bam! Here comes a guy who decided red lights are just suggestions. It happens more often than you think, especially late at night or in distracted traffic. Cars still blow through stale yellows, and some straight up run reds without even touching the brakes. I've seen it myself more than once. Back in the day, I watched a buddy on a sport bike take off the second his light changed. Meanwhile, some clown in a lifted pickup ran the red at full speed. Missed him by inches. That was the last time he ever launched without looking. So practice the habit. Glance left, right, then left again before you move. Takes half a second and might save your life. And don't let impatience or peer pressure from cars behind you override that instinct. If they honk, let them honk. Better annoyed than airborne. Number 11. Not watching for lane splitters or cyclists. At red lights, especially in city traffic, you're not alone. And I don't mean just the cars in front or behind you. I mean the sneaky one. The lane splitters, delivery e-bikes, food couriers, guys on Grom zipping between bumpers, or cyclists who think they're exempt from every traffic law. A lot of new riders make the mistake of treating red lights like a stationary moment. Feet down, mind off, maybe adjust your gloves or check your phone. But while you're relaxing, there's a whole circus going on around you, especially in your blind spots. Ever reposition yourself in the lane while waiting at a light? Maybe scooted a few inches left to avoid a pothole. If someone's splitting lanes behind you at that exact moment, that tiny move can clip their front wheel and send them tumbling. And you'll both look like idiots. Even worse is pulling away from a light and swerving around a car without checking your flank, only to almost sideswipe a bicycle hugging the gutter or a scooter buzzing past. It's chaos out there. So treat red lights like a combat zone. Before moving, take a breath. Check both mirrors. Glance over your shoulders. and listen. You'd be surprised how many people are silently sneaking up on you. Some legal, some not. All dangerous if you're unaware. Number 12. Relaxing too much mentally. Red lights feel like break time, and after a long ride or stressful traffic, it's tempting to shut your brain off for a second. You're not moving, the engine's humming, the sun's out, or maybe it's raining and you just want to zone out. Either way, the danger is the same. Mental vacation mode. And that's exactly when it all goes wrong. The rider behind you might be texting. Driver across the intersection might decide to blow through their red light. A pedestrian might step out early, or worse, your own hands might forget to cover the clutch properly and you stall the second it turns green. Seen it 100 times. When you mentally check out, everything slows down. Your reaction time dulls. You miss cues from traffic. You stop scanning your mirrors. Your posture slumps. And when that light changes, your launch is either sluggish or sloppy, which, in tight traffic, can lead to someone cutting you off or hitting you. Staying sharp at red lights doesn't mean being tense. It means being ready, mentally alert, actively scanning, watching the mirrors, anticipating dumb decisions from others. It's the difference between surviving a bad driver or becoming their excuse for a claim. Red lights aren't brakes. They're tests. And passing them means staying switched on. Number 13. Trusting that other drivers see you. You're stopped. You got your high-vis jacket on. Maybe your headlights flashing or your taillights blinking. Surely they see you, right? Nope. That's where a lot of new riders and plenty of experienced ones get way too confident. The truth is, a motorcycle at a red light is shockingly easy to miss. It's narrow, blends into the background, and a distracted driver behind you might not be registering it as a vehicle at all. They're looking for the back of a car, not two taillights and a helmet. Trusting that other drivers see you is one of the most dangerous assumptions a rider can make, especially at intersections where visual clutter is high and attention spans are low. So, instead of trusting, you confirm. Tap your brake lever a few times to flash the lights. Watch the mirrors obsessively. If someone's barreling towards you, be ready to swerve. Choose a lane position where you're most visible and most able to escape. And above all, ride like you're invisible. Because to half the people around you, you are. Staying seen is your job. Staying alive depends on it. Number 14. Stopping without checking what's behind you. Most riders are hyper-focused on what's ahead when approaching a red light. But what about what's coming behind you? A surprising number of beginners and even experienced riders forget to check their mirrors or glance over their shoulder before slowing down. They just assume traffic is flowing normally and the car behind them is doing what it should. Bad idea. That driver behind you might be texting, sipping coffee, fiddling with the radio, or they might just not see you at all. And if you start slowing down and they don't, you're the crumple zone. This is why the habit of checking behind you before you brake and again as you stop is so important. It gives you time to react, maybe change your position in the lane, or even roll through the intersection if things get hairy and legal in that moment. Every time you stop, ask yourself, what's coming up on me? Because if it's someone doing 40 and not slowing down, you'll be glad you looked. Rear-end collisions at red lights are one of the top ways riders get hurt, and most of them never saw it coming. Red lights seem simple. Stop, wait, go. But for riders, they're one of the most dangerous parts of any ride. It's where you're stationary, vulnerable, and surrounded by people who aren't paying attention. That's why what you do while sitting still can make all the difference. So the next time you're at a light, don't zone out. Treat it like live training. Because when something does go wrong, and one day it might, you won't have time to think, only time to react. If you got a red light ritual of your own, drop it in the comments. And if you ever had a close call at an intersection, we want to hear about it. Ride smart, stay sharp, and never let your guard down just because the light's red.